One Monday morning, Mr. Sen entered the classroom holding a golden envelope. "Our school has been invited to a national business competition," he announced. "The winner will receive mentorship and money to turn their idea into a real business." The classroom erupted with excitement. Almost every hand went up, except Ayaan's. He was one of the brightest students in the class. Yet, he remained silently seated at his desk. Mr. Sen looked at him. "Ayaan, why don't you participate?" Ayaan lowered his eyes. "I would have to travel to another city, compete against strangers, and present on a huge stage." He paused. "What if I fail in front of everyone?" Then he smiled nervously. "I think I'm better off staying here." Mr. Sen became silent. He slowly walked toward Ayaan's desk and placed an old class photograph in front of him. Many years ago, another boy sat in this exact seat. He was poor, inexperienced, and more frightened than you. And he gave me the same excuse. Mr. Sen pointed to a thin boy standing at the edge of the photograph. His name was Raghav. After school, he delivered food to help his mother pay the rent. The students stared at the faded photograph. Mr. Sen continued. "Today, that boy owns a company worth millions." But Raghav's journey did not begin with money, a brilliant idea, or extraordinary courage. It began on the night he was forced to choose between the comfort he knew and an opportunity that terrified him. And he almost made the wrong choice. That night, Raghav was walking past a youth workshop when the mentor called from the doorway. "Are you here for the youth business program?" Raghav stopped beside his bicycle and hid the crumpled form behind his back. "Wrong address," he replied. But before leaving, he glanced through the open door. Inside, students discussed apps and technology, things Raghav barely understood. Looking at his worn uniform and delivery bag, he felt he did not belong there. Then, one student lifted a flimsy takeaway box. "Food deliveries always arrive cold." Raghav stared at it. For months, he had watched customers blame riders while restaurants used weak packaging and impossible routes. It was not a brilliant idea, only a problem he understood personally. For a moment, Raghav faced two choices. The familiar dark lane promised another predictable day. School, deliveries, and rent. Entering promised embarrassment. He gripped the bicycle handle, then slowly released it and turned back. Inside, every student watched as Raghav took the last empty seat. "Introduce yourself," the mentor said. His voice shook. "I'm Raghav. I deliver food." The mentor leaned forward. "Then perhaps you understand this business better than anyone here." For the first time that night, Raghav looked up. The mentor slid the box to Raghav. "What causes this?" Raghav touched its crushed corner. "Weak packaging. Routes planned by distance, not traffic. Riders get blamed for both." The room fell quiet as they listened. The mentor pointed toward the front. "Show us." Raghav's courage vanished. Knowing the problem from a bicycle was different from explaining it to strangers. "I can't," he whispered. "You can stay seated," the mentor said. "But then fear makes the decision again." Raghav stood at the board, his words tangled. The marker slipped from his hand and landed beneath his rough route sketch. No one laughed, but shame burned through him. Facing the polished students, he felt certain he had proved he did not belong. After the session, Raghav reached his bicycle before the mentor stopped him. "Coming inside was a mistake." The mentor shook his head. "Tonight did not expose your weakness. It exposed what comfort allowed you to avoid." Raghav looked back at the board. Minutes later, Raghav stood before a fresh sketch showing a broken road, kitchen delay, shortcut, and waiting customer. The mentor placed the box beside it. "You know the problem. Now learn to build the solution. Bring one in 7 days." Raghav swallowed, then nodded. The 7 days began before sunrise. During deliveries, Raghav timed signals, kitchen delays, and broken roads. Instead of escaping the work he hated, he began studying it. Every stop revealed a problem routine had taught him to ignore. At night, He sat in his rented room with an old carton, foil, cloth, and rope. He built a divided box to trap heat. It looked ugly, and his hands hurt. But an idea from his mind had finally become real. The next evening, Raghav tested it on the longest route. When he opened it, gravy had leaked through the bottom, and the food was barely warm. He stared at the ruined box. Comfort whispered, "You tried. Return to normal." Instead, Raghav carried the broken box into the restaurant kitchen. Admitting failure felt worse than hiding it. "Why did it collapse?" he asked the cook. "Steam softens cardboard," the cook explained, showing him a raised wooden base. "You delivered here for months. Why did you never ask?" Raghav had no answer. On the seventh night, Raghav returned to the workshop with a reinforced box and cleaner route plan. The mentor placed a hot meal inside, waited, then opened it. Steam rose. The students leaned forward. "This will not make you rich," the mentor said, "but it may earn your first customer." The next morning, the mentor brought Mira, a restaurant owner, to the workshop. She examined the reinforced box and route plan. "Deliver 10 lunches," she said. "If one arrives cold, the trial ends." This was no exercise. Someone's money and trust now depended on his idea. His old delivery bag felt safe. The new box felt like a risk. If it failed, he could lose work that helped pay the rent. Raghav almost chose the familiar bag. Then he tightened the ropes and fixed his invention to the bicycle. 9 deliveries went smoothly. On the final route, rain flooded the street and his bicycle chains slipped off. Raghav could turn back. Instead, he covered the box with his shirt, pushed the bicycle through the water, and continued toward the last address. He arrived with only minutes left. Soaked and breathless, Raghav opened the box. The customer lifted the container, and warm steam curled into the rainy air. Her relieved smile proved his idea could survive outside the workshop. That evening, Mira gave Raghav his first payment and offered him a regular route. The notes were small, but they proved something enormous. Discomfort had expanded what he could earn. Soon, one route became 3, and Raghav faced a choice far bigger than entering that workshop. Within a year, 3 routes became 12. Raghav could no longer deliver alone. Mira offered him a secure job, but accepting meant his idea would remain one bicycle. For the first time, comfort looked like a sensible salary. At home, Raghav placed his savings before his mother. It could cover 2 months of rent or buy 2 second-hand bicycles. His hands shook as he chose the bicycles. He was not certain of success. He only decided fear would no longer choose for him. Raghav hired 2 young riders, but their first weeks brought missed orders, broken boxes, and complaints. He nearly returned to working alone. Instead, he rebuilt the process and trained them carefully. Soon, he stood beside a delivery team. Years later, Raghav watched dozens of riders leave a distribution center with insulated boxes. Raghav now owned a company worth millions, but success had not begun with money or confidence. It began whenever he entered a place where he could fail. Mr. Sen held up the old photograph. "Comfort never asked Raghav to surrender," he said. "It only asked him to wait." Ayaan looked at the rejected opportunity letter. Then he walked forward and accepted it. The hidden cost of comfort is not what you lose today. It is the person you never become tomorrow.